I have the Titanic data open in SPSS now, and I'm going to just in this video take a look at how SPSS works, and then I'll just make a second one looking at actual graphs. So you can see that it comes in looking very similar to Excel. The main difference is that we have what's called a dedicated header row, which is where all the variable names go. SPSS is quite particular about variable names. It does not like you to have any spaces, and it does not like any special characters. But you can add in some labels, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So you'll notice that on the left hand side our first row actually starts at 1, whereas in Excel the first row of data would have been number 2. Now next to each variable name, you'll see that it takes a good guess at what type of variable it is, as in numeric or string being letters or characters, and it also has a guess at what class of variable it is, in this case nominal. So those 3 dots are trying to indicate that it's nominal categories like colour. This one here, it also considers nominal, even though we wouldn't really use the passenger names for anything, we just keep them in there. And that little A on it is indicating that it's a string, and a string means characters or letters. The other symbol that we have here is that's meant to be a little tiny ruler, and you can see that the measure is scale, which is anything which is continuous, and a lot of discrete variables too. So any count variables where you have a reasonable number of counts, you would class as scale. If you have very small counts, like number of children, 0, 1, 2, 3, you might treat them as scale, or you might treat them as ordinal. It depends a little bit on the situation, and we'll have a look at that later in the course. So if you have a variable that's coming up as the wrong type, so passenger class here is nominal, but we probably really want to put it as ordinal, only because we don't want to mess around with the orders of the categories. We would like to see 1, 2, and 3 rather than first class, third class, second class. That would make less sense. So this is called the data view, where we can actually see the data, and down in the lower left hand corner you can see that data view. The next tab across is the variable view. You cannot add any extra tabs here. You cannot have lots of different data sets in the one worksheet. So if you want to work on a different version of the data set, or a different data set, you need to open up a new SPSS file, and each file has 2 tabs, one data view and one variable view. So here in passenger class we can see the name of the variable, it's numeric, the width is just like how many spaces it takes up, and you probably wouldn't need that many. Decimals 0, that's fine. You can change that if you want to. The label, now if we want it to show up a little bit better on the graphs, we might type in passenger class as a label, and then whenever it does anything it will actually use this label rather than the variable name. Now I'll just skip across these for the moment and just go to the end here where it says nominal. If you need to change that, just click down on the little blue arrow and change that there. I'm not so concerned about roll at this stage, you can just leave that. So the other thing that we might want to change, I'll just put in a label for survival, is what's called the values. So if you remember on the data view, the survival was 0 and 1, and in Excel we just left them as 0s and 1s and we changed it on the graph. In SPSS it's easier if you change it in the variable view. One, because it records what that information is for the next time you open the data set, but also because it will pop those value labels onto any output that you produce. So if you click into the values box, I'll do that, sorry, slowly. So if you click into the values box, you'll see the little blue square pop up, and then click on the little blue square. The value 0 corresponds to died, click add, and the value 1 corresponds to survived. Okay, and you could do that with the first, second and third as well if you wanted. First, second and third. Okay, so we're all set up to go now.